I am so happy to be home. As I mentioned at the top of the service, I just returned from this trip to Seattle to be with my daughter for two big things. She graduated from her master's program from the University of Washington, and she had a significant surgery from which she is recovering. Right now, her other mom is with her. She has two moms, but I'll be returning to her side in a few weeks to kind of continue assisting in her convalescence. So, my role as a mother is done most effectively when it is done from an internal space of being in my power and being in my heart. And that's the title of my talk today, Powerful and Heart-Centered, which was a perfect reading. So our theme this month is empowerment and protecting the vulnerable. You know, not long ago, you may or may not know, I'm on the path to ordination in our organization. And so I'm doing all these interviews about my ministry. And one of the questions I was asked is, how would you describe your ministry? Like, how would I describe the way I do my work as my own unique self? You know, how is my ministry different than anyone else's ministry, even in a Science of Mind teaching, a colleague of mine? And in the description that I gave, I realized that there are two sides to my ministry. The first side of my ministry is all about the head, the mental, right? You know, I've always been able to describe spirituality, the laws and the principles and the concepts in a way that is accessible to most people. You know, I make this philosophy very approachable. Sometimes Ernest Holmes can be a little heady. Have you noticed?
Yes.
And so the fact that I teach those concepts and help others learn it is a big part of what I do. But the other side of my ministry is about the heart. It's about the emotional and the spiritual part of being in this teaching. And I want to help others kind of deepen their internal connection to the divine energy of all life, to God itself, right? And I want to love others in a way. I want to love you in a way that invites you to love yourself more. It invites you to see your life through a lens that makes it more uplifting and empowering. Now, I want to help you center yourself in your heart and the power that resides there. So let's talk about that power first, and then I'll talk about the heart-centered part later. So the Science of Mind makes no bones about the fact that we are working with a supreme power. Here's a quote. The power that holds a grain of sand in place is the same power that holds the planets in their places. There's nothing big or little, hard or easy, as far as this power is concerned. It is the same power working in and upon everything, and this is the power that we use. So whatever you're doing in your life, whatever you're doing, I invite you to do it with an awareness of the power that you are, the power that you have. And when you're connected with that power of your own mind, you're capable of having absolute miracles in your life. Miracles. So what is a miracle? A miracle is defined as an extraordinary or spectacular event. By sheer definition, you are a miracle. You're a miracle. The very idea that you're being held by gravity on this swirling planet spinning through a vast universe is a miracle, right? You've probably heard the saying that either everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. And if you understand the power that you are dealing with, everything is a miracle. You understand that. But what does understand mean? Let's look at that word. What does it mean to understand something? When you understand something, you know something without a doubt. I get it. I understand it. And my goal is to help you understand, to know without a doubt that you are powerful beyond measure. You are powerful. And to know how life works and what your part is in that process is what makes you powerful. See, everything has a process. Everything has a process. Everything is constantly creating something new. You are a part of that process in a powerful way. And the more you understand your part in the process, the more power you can wield in that creative process. You have the power to create. You create by sending out energy. These energy vibrations that come out from your very being. So what are you sending out? You're sending out through your mind and your body something every moment. Your mind and your body are sending out thoughts and vibrations, and the energetic universe around you responds to it and orders itself around what it is that you are sending out. That's how it works. And they are doing that, your mind and your body are doing that with or without your conscious participation. And with or without the full force of your power. What makes you remember your power? What makes you wake up and live from your powerful spiritual self versus living from this human, frail perspective? What makes you wake up? Your power is knowing the truth without a doubt. That understanding. Knowing yourself and understanding yourself without a doubt. That's your power. Power is focusing your attention and intention on the life that you want. It's the power of focus that moves you forward. Power is in the now moment. Using the law and the understanding of the truth of God. Power is the law. Power is the choice. Power is awareness. Your power is born into you, and every single one of us has it. And the secret is learning how to use your power and how to access your power. So think about the most powerful thing that you own. You all got it in your pocket. Garbage rings. Your cell phone is one of the most powerful things that you own. That phone can do absolutely miraculous things for you. I know, right? I mean, when's the last time you remembered a number or figured out how to get somewhere without your phone, right? But what does your phone need? It needs a charge. It needs a power charge, doesn't it? Your phone will die if it is not plugged in to its source. It makes this really bad sound. You don't ever want to hear it, kind of thing. You got to juice it up. You know, guess what? Your minds are the same way. Your minds are the same way. It will die and forget its power if you don't plug it in and juice it up. When you know the source of your power, you can choose to plug into it and tap into your most powerful self. So here I was in Seattle with my daughter and the other people around her to help her get through this foot reconstruction surgery. Not a fun surgery, I'll tell you that. And I knew the day of the surgery would be long and tiring. I knew once again I would witness my daughter being rolled into the OR. And she would come back to me in this painful recovery stage that would take weeks. And I think this was about her 30th surgery, something like that. She's had a lot of stuff, right? So what did I need? I knew going into it I needed something. What did I need? I needed my power. I needed my power. I needed to remember the truth that everything was working in perfection for her care and her healing. And I found ways to charge my mind battery. You know, while I was in Seattle, you may or may not know, I found the Science of Mind in Seattle, and my practitioner that I've had for almost 20 years now lives in Seattle. And so I had 2 sessions with Eric to kind of plug into my mind battery, to plug into my power. And while I was there, I was also surrounded by our powerful team of practitioners right here who held me in consciousness and knew with me my power. And I could call dear friends who would remind me that Spirit was operating through me and through her entire medical team. I was connected to my powerful source. I remembered that each and every moment was the moment of creation, and what I did with my thoughts and my mind and my choices mattered greatly and influenced my experience of that day and of that time with her. If I was going to protect the vulnerable, which is our theme this month, and my daughter kind of represents that vulnerable, I needed to be in my spiritual power. I was most helpful when I was not in my fear. I was not in my worry, because moms worry, don't we? We worry. I was most helpful when I was moving into my highest self. I was confident in the truth that this obstacle was temporary and serving her perfectly in some way that I could not understand. I could encourage her and inspire her best, and when I was in my power and my knowing. So we can all agree that we are most effective when we're powerful, when we're plugged in, when we're juiced up. But let me see if we can agree that we're also most effective when we're centered in our hearts. What we are called to do with that power that runs in us is love. Loving is our purpose for being on this planet, in this magic suit, in this physical plane. We are here to express the qualities of God in our lives, and love is the greatest of those qualities. It's what we're here for. Therefore, we're at our most effective level of living when we are letting love flow through our powerful choices, through our powerful thoughts, through our powerful awareness. So what do you love? What do you love? What moves you to get up and change? What moves you to adjust your schedule? What moves you to plug into your power and make a difference? What moves you to make a shift in your way of being in the world? Love. Love does. Ernest Holmes says this: love points the way, and the law makes the way possible. What he's saying is that love tells you the things that are for you. Love nudges you toward the who, the what, the when, the where, the why. Staying heart-centered keeps you in connection with that love so that you know where your joy is leading you. Love points the way. And the part about the law, that's about allowing your understanding of the way the universe works, the power that is available to actually create what you're wanting to create. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. Law, or the power, is what makes the way possible. You are your best guide. The love inside you is always pulling you and guiding you to your best, but the challenge is practicing staying heart-centered. I recently finished teaching many of you a mysticism class, and we spent the month of May, the mystical month of May, getting in touch with the sweet presence that is within us. We practice accessing that center of our hearts as we practice listening to its guidance. See, we're all connected to our heart center. There's nothing we can do to disconnect it. It's always there. We just might need to plug in more frequently to access the power of it. But our heart center is always present, just awaiting our conscious awareness of it. And if you don't know what or who to love, let's listen to the wisdom of Joel Goldsmith from our mysticism class. You know, love your neighbor is a kind of an old biblical instruction. But it's not only Bible, it's ancient wisdom. That truth is taught in every religion, every philosophy. Love your neighbor, we're all one. So I want to read from Practicing the Presence from our class just for 1 second. He says, let us understand that anything of which we can become aware is a neighbor. Remember, the instruction is love thy neighbor as thyself. So anything of which we can become aware is a neighbor, whether it appears as a person, a place, or a thing. Every idea in consciousness, every idea is a neighbor. And those neighbors who are a part of our experience find their way to us, and those who are not are removed. And he says, love is the law of God. Powerful. So let's go back to my time in Seattle and look at it from the perspective of being heart-centered. You know, if I looked at my choices of how to spend some of my time off this summer, I can tell you I never ranked very high the idea of going and sitting around the hospital, right? Not my number one choice. You know, I wanted to spend a few weeks up in North Carolina and the cooler temperatures. Seattle was cool, that's not the problem. But not far away in Seattle was someone in pain. You know, trust me, It took getting very heart-centered to make that choice. As a mom, it's not too hard to get there. But love pointed the way to Seattle. Love took me there and called me to my best mothering. But love didn't stop there. No. Love of my daughter also put me in close quarters with my ex, her other mom. Now, Savannah and I have done a lot of healing over the past 21 years since our divorce. But I still wasn't relishing the idea of spending several days in the same condo with her. And some of you have been around, some people over here have been around a long time in that path. I wasn't relishing that. You know, I could have chosen to stay at my mom's. My mom's house is about 20 minutes away. But when I listened to that voice within, when I got heart-centered, it called me to stay at Kelsey's with them together in my daughter's house. So I remained heart-centered. Well, on the final 2 evenings before Kelsey's surgery, Kelsey left the condo to go to her last couple of shifts at work before she was taking all this time off. And that left Sue-Ann and me in the condo without a car to have our very first private conversations together in years and years. I could have run errands, I could have gone to the movies, I could have done lots of different things, anything, virtually anything to avoid. How many of you have an ex? How many of you would like to spend 2 long evenings together? Right? But my heart invited me to stay. My heart invited me to stay right there and love. Love my ex? Really? Really? That's too much to ask, right? Right? See, what I didn't realize is that Spirit was giving me an opportunity to heal deeply, to step into an even greater degree of acceptance and forgiveness than ever before. I thought I was done with that. I mean, come on, I teach forgiveness and gratitude, right? I thought I was done. I thought I'm cool. But no, there were still powerful releasing conversations to have, healing conversations to have, understanding to be gained, and love to be expressed. We laughed, we cried, we shared memories, both joyful memories and tragic memories. And then we stepped into greater freedom through our willingness to sit in our hearts together. Remember I mentioned when you have an understanding miracles are possible? I would almost consider that a miracle. And I think Kelsey was a little nervous leaving us alone together. She was on that path of divorce with us, right? But when she came home, she could feel that our connection was more uplifted and more powerful and more healed. And as we stood over her bed the next day in the hospital, each one of us was holding one of her hands on either side. The love just kind of flowed through our entire family. It just flowed. And you know, you could say that we're a broken family, but I don't use that word. I really don't. I don't. Our mending has been long in the making. But we can stand together and we can protect the vulnerable among us. Powerful and heart-centered. That's how I want to live. That's how I want you to live. If we're connected to our power through our minds and we're connected to our love by being heart-centered, we can join in the magnificent experience of being human in a mighty way. But all of it starts inside us as individuals. You know, we become powerful. We have to understand how to access and use the power of the universe. You must decide to learn as much about yourself and spirit as you possibly can. It takes practice to live within your power and know the truth, even in the face of adversity or even your own vulnerability. And to become heart-centered, you must become familiar with the voice of love within you and allow it to guide you in your choices, even when they appear scary or require you to change or require you to forgive or they require you to step into greater vulnerability. And once you take these first steps towards living this way, the world around you will feel it. The world around you will feel it. Your family will experience the shift, and they will benefit from your powerful heart-centeredness, and even beyond your family. Your coworkers and your community, we'll feel it when you do it. and the world will respond to you differently. It really will. It's the law. It's the love, it's the law and the love working together. And it can be your life if you choose to live powerfully and heart-centered. You know, many of us have been reading Brene Brown. You know, we've been reading the book, Daring Greatly, Vulnerability and Living Wholeheartedly. I mean, that's what she's writing this whole book about, is living from your powerful self and knowing that you are enough. You know, Daring Greatly is about listening to the call of your heart and knowing that wherever it takes you, you have a personal relationship with the divine and with each other here in this room, for that matter, to handle whatever love points you to. You can handle it. Now, I can't wait to dive into that discussion of this book on Tuesday night. I hope we can discover together how living a spiritual life in community really lifts us up and helps us dare greatly and live authentically and vulnerably with each other. That's what I hope. So I invite you to choose to plug into your power and choose to follow the love that's in your heart. Will you join me in prayer? Here's what I know. Put your hand on your heart. That pulse of life that you feel within you is God itself, is that powerful heart center that is always available. And what I know is that heart center never ever leads us wrong. It always takes us into our highest and best. And when we can push that fear aside and follow the love, we are powerful. We are so powerful. And so what I know for each one in this room is that we are empowered this week and the days ahead to lean into that space, to lean into the remembering that we are divine beings and nothing is too big to overcome. Nothing is too scary or too overwhelming, because we have that power within our hearts and our love inside always points the way. That is what I know. And so I know for each of us, an absolute miracle when we understand who we really are. And affirm with me together. And so it is.